Hello and welcome to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Dean Greenberg, president and founder of Greenberg Financial Group. Hey Dean, how are you?
I'm good, Sarah. How are you today?
Good. I love the blue. We're in good spirits. We're glowing, ready to talk about money as always.
We do.
We got a lot to talk about. I'm going to jump right in.
We got to make people money.
You know what, Dean?
Or stop them from losing money, helping move on, not be so stressed out.
Stress. I feel like the temperature of the world right now is so high stress. Do you feel that way? I just feel like people just have gotten higher and higher strung over the last few years. I mean, it started with the pandemic, but it has almost gotten worse.
Well, there's good reason for it. I mean, we're in a situation that our debt is so high. I mean, it's no different if it's your own debt. Why should the world be in such a situation? It's like teetering, if you think about it. You know, if your credit card debt is so high and you can't make the payments and things are stressing out, all of a sudden you stress out as a family. So you're in the same situation as a country, but not just our country, all the countries. Look what's happening in England and everything else. The problem we have now is we had this huge debt, which used to be, less than $1 trillion, then 10 trillion, then 20 trillion, 30 trillion, 40 trillion, and interest rates went from basically 0 to what, 4, 5% now? That's a lot. How are we going to afford this? That's a problem. And people are freaking out, and that's why we've had problems with the markets, and we don't have any stimulus in the markets right now. And the Federal Reserve chairman says we have to feel pain. Well, when you got people that are in charge of our money telling us we have to feel pain, people get scared.
Well, and we've been feeling the pain. I mean, we've talked about this before, on other shows, but when you're having to make the decision between should I buy that, gallon of milk or should I put a couple of gallons of gas in my car, that's pain for us that we've never really felt before. And so it's a little unnerving. But I think on today's show, I want to give people that feeling that, there is some control we can take back by having a proper plan, because I can't tell you how many people I talk to that they just don't have one at all. All they do is they wake up, they go to work, they maybe have a 401k, and that's wonderful. But at the end of the day, they wake up with just a stack of statements, and there is no real plan.
Right, and we got to talk about the 401k plan. So many people look at their 401k plans right now and say, I can borrow money against that. Or I can stop putting money in right now because I need that money. Because they're living for today. It is the worst possible thing they can possibly do. I realize it might be their last resort, and if that's what our government is doing to these people, it's a real shame. Because this is the time you should be putting in as much money as you possibly can. This is the time you should be as aggressive as you can if you're under 50 years old. This is the time that you have to realize you don't want to be borrowing money at this low place, but you should be putting money in and not stop putting money in the 401k plan. Because where are you going to get your money for retirement? We don't have pensions anymore. We don't have what our parents had and our grandparents had. Corporations aren't doing that. We're going to become a very poor nation because we don't have that inheritances being passed down. It's all for us. And if we don't put monies away, if we don't do things, we're in trouble. And we become so worried about ourselves, about today, about everything about today that no one thinks about tomorrow or 10 years or 20 years from now. And it's scary. And that is why they need plans. People in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, 70s, they all need a plan. It's a different type of plan all the time. Somebody that's 20 or 30 or 40 needs a plan for their future or their kids or their education. And people, as they get older, have to plan for their retirement. When you're younger, you got to plan for a lot of things. When you get older, you got to plan for your retirement, and it's tough.
Well, I love what you just said too about the plan is different, 30s, 40s, 50s. It's also not a set it and forget it type of situation. This is an ever evolving plan, right? And you got to update it
all the time.
Right. The only thing constant is change, and I can tell you something. Everybody that's sitting on that sofa and watching this show has had change in the last few years, probably more change than they've ever had, whether it be loss of loved ones, loss of jobs, change of jobs. I mean, you name it. It's been very tumultuous. So we got to keep up with these things.
What people don't realize is when their health goes at any time in their age, and you can't work, that's the worst thing in the world. You need to have insurance. And it's not just health insurance. You need to have that disability insurance. You need to have some type of insurance that's going to take over your paycheck if you're not there. It's terrible. And most people never think about that. Life insurance. You have a family, you better have some type of life insurance. If you're young enough, have term insurance. You need some type of protection. And this all comes from the plan. Because some people go, well, how much do I need? I'd rather make sure that somebody has life insurance than this whole thing of people, you need 6 months of expenses. That's hard to do. It's not hard to go ahead and get $500,000 worth of term insurance if you're young enough. Because if your family, if you have kids, you need something for them, And it's not expensive if you're young and you're healthy. If you wait till you're sick and when you need it, it's not going to be there. It's going to be expensive for you.
Well, and these are the questions that most of us don't know who to ask. I mean, you see commercials for things, and to be able to go into the free marketplace and buy these things individually, it's not taking into consideration all of the parts of your plan. And this is such a personal thing, right? But you need to sit down with me and get to know me and my needs, not only my X amount, how much money I make, but what do I want to do with that? How many kids do I have? Where's that money going to go? What's my plan for 20 years? A lot of things that come into play, why we need to sit down with a professional advisor like yourself and look at the comprehensive plan.
You know what we do? We make those hard questions easy. We make them nice. We talk to you. We go and ask you those questions, and they just make them simple. You know what I'm saying? We don't scare you. I hate scare tactics, I swear. People scare people into it. People that sell life insurance just scare you. It's just a matter of life. We just say, these are things you have to do. We don't say, oh, what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. This is what you have to do. Here's your plan, okay? You've got to do these things to protect yourself. If you do these things, now you can think about retirement. Everybody wants to just think about investing and making money and doing those things. But you have to have all the building blocks to get there. And that's what planning does.
Well, and for those of you who have met with advisors and haven't had these types of conversations, or for that matter, if you have never had these types of conversations, now is the time to get a second opinion, because we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, and the sun is shining today. So we're going to call that number, 844-544-4909. Look at that face. Who could not want to see this face?
Look at that face. You say second opinion. Most of it, the way we do it, it's a first opinion most of the time. I know people do this and do that. It's a first opinion. No one does it the way we do it. Because at the end of the day, we're also managing the money for them. We're talking to them. And if we don't bug them, we're the worst salesmen in the world. Because we don't ask for the order. We just put it out there and explain and educate them.
I want to be able to pick up the phone and know that someone, a real person, is on the other end and they know something about me and they can help me with my problem, versus some, robo advisor who's just going to boop, boop, boop and input the numbers. This, to me, is what you're giving us, is an education and also making it very, very human, and I love that. So give us a call. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We always run out of time. We'll come back and talk more about planning your retirement, but on the way, there's so many steps to get there. We'll see you in a minute.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have. By running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no-obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Hello and welcome back to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Dean Greenberg. We never stop talking. Just so you know, the cameras stop, we never stop. It just keeps going. There's just so much to talk about, but I really do think we need to talk a little bit more about taxes, because that is just something that a lot of us don't really understand. We all know that we need to prepare our taxes, which will be with our accountant, but that's in the past. We don't know enough about how to prepare for taxes from the standpoint of not paying too much. We all need to pay them. That's the privilege of being, a U.S. citizen. But how do we avoid paying too much? Proper planning.
Well, proper planning's one, but remember, with inflation the way it is, so you got inflation, and now you have taxes, and you've got them raising taxes if you're making any money. So if you're successful, guess what? They're going to make you pay more taxes. So obviously there's ways to do it. You want to always retire, put as much money as you can in your retirement plans. That reduces how much money you make. And then there's all these things you hear about them. You got annuities. You got different types of annuities. You got variable annuities. You got fixed index annuities. You got fixed annuities. Those are all tax deferred. If you're making a lot of money, especially the variable annuities are great, because it's just like your 401k plans. You can put money away and they can grow. You can use mutual funds and stuff like that, and and they can grow until you're 59. We use that for people that are making big money. We deal with a bunch of NFL players that are making tons of money in their 20s. That we want to make sure that when they're 59 and 60 years old, that no matter what they did in between, that we can tell them that they're going to have millions of dollars when they turn that age. Because a lot of these guys go broke 5 years after they retire. We don't want that to happen. We plan for them, and that's why they use us. But the regular person making a decent amount of money that can afford to put some more money in, that's a great way. If they're retired, what we use is fixed index annuities for people that want to fill income gaps, for CDs that are just taxable in the bank. These are great because right now we're getting interest rates you couldn't get 5, 7, 10, even 15 years ago, where you can get 3.5%, 4.5%. Get that money out of the bank that's paying you that type of money, that maybe 3% in a CD, that you're paying taxes on, that you can go ahead and just not pay taxes on until you actually cash this in, that also has liquidity, and be able to get 3.5%, 4.5%. These are good things right now. And obviously they're backed by and guaranteed by the insurance company. Those are important things, that things have changed. So when things change, do them. You need to save on taxes as best you can right now.
And what I'm learning is so much of tax planning is timing, right? It's not just how much money you have or where you put it, but when. And there's just like there's a real nuance to that. And
that's why you got to do planning too. So when do you take Social Security? Okay, that's so important. So many people, I want to take it, I don't want the government to get it.
You mean I can't call and get somebody on the phone that's going to explain that to me? No.
Right, because if you're working and you take it before your retirement age, you're going to be paying most of that in penalties. So at least at your retirement age, you're just paying it in taxes and not with penalties. So, make sure you understand, go through the plan. But if you got young kids and you're over the age of the 62, then maybe it makes sense if you're not making enough money. There's a lot of things that go into Social Security planning that you need to look into. But you got to look at the whole plan. And that's what we do at Greenberg Financial Group. Stephanie and Todd and Dylan, they do a fantastic job sitting down with you and going through. Our whole approach is a team approach.
Stephanie and Dylan had mentioned to me on another show that they had encountered someone recently who came to them, but really was with a lot of fear. And they said, we didn't even feel like we were worthy of calling. We didn't feel like we had enough money, or I didn't know the right questions to ask. And this seems to be sort of a common thing, that people are just afraid to pick up that phone because they don't know where to start. And they don't know the right questions to ask, or they're afraid you're going to tell them you're in a bad situation.
I can't tell you how many people will call me or ask me, I don't think I have enough money that I can that you can manage, and they'll have over $1 million. And I go, listen to me. I said, when I came to Tucson, I had $5,000 in my pocket. I just got fired from my job because I stuck up for clients in 1987 after the thing. I swore to myself if I was ever successful, I will never, ever turn anybody down. And still today, I will never turn anybody down. I made sure that I have programs, I have models that I can handle people that can even only put in $100 a month. I will make sure that people will learn, people will be able to invest to whatever they are. I don't care if they have 20 grand, I don't care if they have $20 million. We handle it all because it's the most important thing that they have for them. When you have that attitude and you can go ahead and realize whatever that person has, you're dealing with what's the most important to them, and you can help them, you as a company, you'll be successful. Nobody will work for me that doesn't have that same attitude.
So what's the best time to start a plan?
Immediately.
Right. Okay.
That's it. It's immediate. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till next week. Don't wait till next year. Don't wait till you have money. Don't wait till you inherit it. Start today. Call today. Don't be afraid. Are you kidding me? Stephanie, Dylan, Todd, they're young, they're smart, they're energetic. I've changed my whole model. I've went with young people. Okay? I've always been ahead of the curve. Because I understand, as I got older and Dave gets older, it's, you know, people want to say, hey, I want to be around people that are going to be there in 20 years. Well, I get that. So we've changed the model. We put young people in, and their whole thing is different. Millennials, everyone's different. They want salaries. Okay, that's fine. And they want incentives. That's fine. But we're lucky because we've already been successful. We grew up. You were on commission. I've never been paid a salary in my life. All right? But that's okay. But if you want to be successful, you got to change. And I think that my coaching career of 20 years has been helped me with young people. And they're doing a great job. They're smart. You've met them. They've been on the shows. They're smart. They're energetic. They care about the people that come in.
Well, what I love is this team approach, because I want to know when I pick up the phone, if someone's not there, someone else is there, and they all know, hey, Sarah, you know, tell me about your kids, what's going on today. There's a real person, and there's a team of people there that can handle all the different facets. You're not telling me, okay, I'm going to send you out to this office or that office. You're able to do it all then and there. That takes a lot of stress and pressure off, especially given how busy our lives are getting these days.
And it's also what you want out of life, too. We want quality of life. Do I care if we have $10 billion under management on the biggest one? No. I care about who we have and making a living for ourselves and everybody else and enjoying life, okay? And doing a good job for everybody.
So you're getting to tell me that after all these years of hard work, I get to enjoy these years of my life. Thank you so much. That's all I needed to hear. That phone number is 844-544-4909. We always run out of time. We'll get to a quick commercial break, and we'll talk more with Dean about anything and all things money.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Hello and welcome back to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with the fabulous Dean Greenberg, and we never seem to stop talking because there's just so much to talk about. But planning for your retirement doesn't mean just throwing a stack of papers out and saying, here's my plan. It really is unique and individualized to each one of us, and I feel like a lot of us have zero education in this area.
Yes, you're right. And it's not, it doesn't have to be educated. Nobody gives it time to think about it. So what we do is when we sit down, we talk to them about it. We just ask the easy questions, simple questions. What do you want to do? What do you want to be? How many kids you got? Are they getting married? What's your grandchildren? Do you want to leave them any money? Do you like them? Do they like you? Do they treat you well?
That's a sticky
I
question.
mean, you think that's a crazy question? I can't tell you how many kids do not talk to their parents. I think it's horrible. I couldn't imagine.
Sad.
Or grandchildren that just try to take advantage of their grandparents and we step in. We don't let that happen. We're like, you know, it's like, it's amazing what goes on. So we tried to be, you know, help them out, make sure that they don't run out of money.
What about those who want to bring maybe their kids in and understand things?
We've had many, many, many clients bring their on the positive note,
Yeah.
their kids and grandchildren in, and just we teach them the basics of money. We'll educate them. We'll tell them what's going on and how we do it. A lot of them open up Roth accounts for their kids and grandchildren's. And does investment kids, because you can gift money to their kids and stuff like that. So that way they see, they get statements and they kind of start seeing what's happening and what's going on. And that's good.
So if you had to ask somebody, okay, you know, Sarah, what age do you want to retire? And what if I'm sitting here saying, you know what, Dean, I really don't know the answer to that. Is this something that you can, you know, review my finances and tell me, here's what age you can retire, and then maybe the personal element takes into
My first
play.
question to you is, do you own your own business or not? And if you say you don't, then I'm going to say, is there a mandatory age that you have to retire? If you say there's not, then I say don't retire until your health tells you. I've seen way too many people that love their jobs that retire, then they don't know what to do. Now, my next question after that is, do you hate your job? If you say you hate your job, then we say, okay, let's find out when you can retire. And then we look at what you have and what your assets, and I say, well, between your Social Security and whatever, if you have a pension or not, or whatever you're getting, and what we can get off your investments, this is how much money you will be able to basically live off without thinking that you go through your money. And if they say, yes, I can live off that, then we say, well, you got to stay to it. We put a little fluff in there. And then when I say, okay, you can then pick a time you can retire. And what they do is like the freedom. If they know they can retire now, then it's up to them. And believe it or not, then they enjoy going to work again. And so you kind of go through it. And if they don't, and say they need another 100 or 200,000, then what we either do is come up with a way to make up that income, or they have to do some savings and things like that. So, you know, you have to go through that, and hopefully they don't have to go through that. Or they have some things that they can sell. You know, they might have some properties and stuff and say, okay, well, if you sell those properties and you turn it into this income, then that'll give you enough money that you'll need to pay your bills and have some money left over.
Are you seeing with people, you know, living longer, that retirement ages keep going up and up, and people wanting to stay in the workplace longer? Or do you feel like because of the last few years of COVID, people are wanting to take a step back and enjoy their lives a little bit more?
I see people, yes, second one. I see people not doing as much, doing less, but enjoying it more. You know what I'm saying? That it was like hey, I don't want to work, I want to do this. But unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people retiring, dying earlier. You know what I mean? Like they have nothing to do, and all of a sudden you're hearing these things like 2 months later, 6 weeks later, a year later, they passed. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's because they just didn't have anything to live for or what. And I don't know. But if you have your own business and you're enjoying it, keep going if you can do it.
And business owners too, that could be a whole nother show for another day.
Yes.
Because the way that they have to approach their savings is very different without...
Exactly. But one of the things that I'm very, very good at is I've helped a lot of business owners about their succession plans on how to do that. Because obviously if you own your own business, you either sell it or you have a succession plan, if it's sellable. If it's not, then let's figure out how to get a succession plan out of it, and you know, and see if there's some people you can trust and stuff. But I've helped a few people be able to turn their businesses over and be able to move on with their life and kind of have their hands in it and mentor and still live their and live their lives beautifully.
So for those sitting on the sofa and thinking, these are questions that I really need to be visiting. We all, like you said, want to talk about our vacation to Hawaii more than we want to talk about our retirement.
You want to go to Hawaii. I don't want to go back to Hawaii.
Have I said Hawaii? Have I said that?
Yeah,
Well,
you
maybe.
said Hawaii.
I do. I really
There's
do.
other places.
I mean, yeah, I like
A
the
lot of
beach.
people want to go to Hawaii. I don't know. I just.
I don't know a better beach to tell you right now. I just can't. I don't know.
I want white sand.
All right, we'll come up with that, and we'll put that in part of my financial plan. But if these are questions that you have, write them down in a notebook. This is just a conversation, right? When I come see you, I can say, Dean, here's some questions I have. And this is part of how we create the plan so that we can make these things a reality.
I've helped so many people over and above. Like, should they lease a car or buy a car? If they buy cars through people I know, I've helped them get better prices. Should they, on houses, I've helped them knock down, like on their mortgages, say, Dean, what do you think here? No, that's not a good price. I'm going to go get you a better price. I don't get paid for that. We help that because we're their advisors. Our experience can help them with that, and it's been good. It's what your relationships are about, your experience is about. And that's why a lot of people have been with us 15, 18, 20, 25 years.
Well, I love how you always say you take the fear factor off the table, because to me, we've all been living kind of in a state of fear over the last few years. And isn't it nice to think, hey, I could come in, have a cup of coffee, have this conversation, and maybe I find out I'm on the right path. And if I'm not, I will get there. Now I know I have a plan.
And we handle the stress. Let us handle the stress. We'll take the stress away from you.
You can have all my stress, Dean,
we'll
if
take
you want it.
I'm big enough. I can handle it.
Right back at you. Thank you so much for joining us today. We always run out of time. And thank you for joining us. This is a topic that will never end. We'll always have more to say, so we hope that you'll join us on the next show to talk about all things money, because I guess apparently money does matter, doesn't it?
It does. And Sarah, I just enjoyed doing the show with you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Enjoy it every time, and we hope you'll join us on the next one. See you soon.